Hello, good evening, and welcome to the second round of the VMS Bronze Series here at the Virtual Motorsports Series. We are once again at the east coast of the United States here at the Sebring International Raceway. 6 kilometers. This track opened in 1950, so a very old racetrack. A lot of bumps, of course. The road is partially made from concrete laid down all the way back in World War II. So it is a bumpy circuit out here. Sector 1, very tricky first corner, of course, very easy to lose the rear. Sector 2, full of complex corners. You need your driver's technique going on there. Sector 3 with the famous sunset bend at the end of it. So a very complex and challenging course here tonight for our drivers in the bronze split. My name is Sverre Koolman. I'm once again joined by Daniel Krylov. Daniel, good evening. How are you today? Let's see if we can get Daniel comes. He has had some technical issues today all over, so we're gonna try to get him in at some point. Otherwise, I'm just gonna have to do it with my lovely voice for this evening. So I think for now I'm just gonna do it like this. All right, so it is just me for now. Hopefully we can get Daniel in at some point later tonight. If not, well then we'll just have to entertain ourselves together between me and the YouTube chat as well. Sebring, yes, like I mentioned, it is a very tricky racetrack, a true driver's track with bumps that can catch out any driver basically of any skill. Very easy to lose the car on those bumps, especially in Sunset Bend, the final corner, turn 17 of this track, and the first corner as well. A lot of flowing high-speed corners there, which don't really match with the bumps on here. But it is a great racing track. It's a personal favorite of mine. It's 6 kilometers of high-intensity racing, which should provide us with a lot of entertainment for tonight, as we are looking at Gabor Pour coming into the pit lane. Gabor Pour, who finished second last time out. So hopefully he can. Hopefully for him, he can improve one more on that on tonight during this race. Getting some confirmation that there are still some issues with Daniel, so maybe we can get him in sometime later. Luca Gagliardini finishing third last time out in the Hypercar series, also in the Ferrari. It was 1-2-3 for Ferrari 2 weeks ago at Qatar. Great race from those all over back then. Briefly saw Fabian Roth as well, the number 2 driver in the LMGT3 field last time out, finishing just behind Manuel Fuchs, who scored maximum points back then, followed by Merwan Banoada, who finished third then. So great start for those guys in the championship here in the Bronze Series. So you see a near miss there between the Toyota and Luca Gagliardini in the currently 6th place Ferrari. Of course, this is still practice, so nothing major going on just yet. There we have Fabian Roth in the Corvette, I think it is. As you might have seen 2 weeks ago, I tend sometimes to mistakenly get confused between the Corvette and the Ferrari, so hopefully not this time. Otherwise, please do point it out in the YouTube chat. Of course, I can still read that. So if I make a mistake, please do point it out. I can always learn from it. But the purple Corvette here with the livery, we're all too familiar to us, a part of a racing team that is well, competing on all fronts in every category pretty much. The Velster Racing Team, I think that is. Finishing second last time out, so hopefully for him he can improve one more. It is a good start to the championship, of course. 18 points on the board for him right now. You see him coming through the Sunset corner. It's a great corner there, very close to the wall at the exit there. Pretty much the closer you can get, the better it is for your lap time, so it's going to provide some great racing action here tonight. For those of you who have not watched a VMS race so far, in a few moments' time we're going to go to the qualifying session, which is 25 minutes, and all the cars are involved in that. The first 10 minutes are reserved for the GT3 drivers. Then we have a couple of minutes of a break, and then the final 10 minutes are for the Hypercar drivers. So even though they're all in the same session, they won't actually participate at the same time on track to give every driver a clean part of racing track here to set their optimal lap times. So don't be surprised if we see the GT3 drivers coming into the pit lane at about 10 to 15 minutes left on the clock, as we're rounding up this practice session, giving the drivers a chance to warm up a little bit. As we see Corey Jason pulling over there, warming up a little bit, getting familiar with the conditions of this track. So hopefully they can perform great during this qualifying session. We are patiently waiting for this session to start in just a few moments' time. Still see a Peugeot 68 X8 on tracks. Excuse me there, I lost my words for a little bit. 9X8 it is, of course. These hypercars should provide some great action out here. Those cars especially tricky on the bumps. The suspension is a lot stiffer usually than the GT3 cars, who are a bit more well, suited for these kind of conditions. I say suited, but it is a relative term, of course. They're still very tricky for them to drive and perform competitively in. As we take a look at the driver lineups in the Bronze LM GT3 field here, top name Manuel Fuchs, who is, as I mentioned, the championship leader in the GT3 field, taking the win at Qatar 2 weeks ago, with 25 points for him on the board. Alex Stratman in the Lexus. Also a lot of BMWs here, kind of surprising. We tend to see more Aston Martins in the field and in the VMS championship, but the BMW also a popular car here in this field. We do have one change. Kevin de Bouwert, who is still noted here as a Lexus driver, has actually switched to the Porsche 992 LM GT3. So that is the only Porsche 992, I do believe. I think it is, yes. So it's always great to see the Porsche in the field. So we have a new car here. Does mean he loses all his championship points, but he finished outside of the points last time out, so that shouldn't be a loss for him. These were the results of 2 weeks ago at Qatar. Manuel Fuchs taking the win, followed by Fabian Roth and Merwan Banoado, followed by Patrick Stein, Kevin Kienbaum, Alex Stratman, Fabian Wenger, Mohamed Colombo, Nicolas Bessière, and Corey Jason rounding up the top 10, 66 seconds behind the leader, which makes this the current championship standings, as I previously mentioned. So a lot of variety in this field, with the Corvette getting a good result just behind the BMW. First Aston Martin in P3. Both Lexus drivers performing really well in P4 and P6, that is. So great stuff from them. The first Ferrari we can see in the form of Mohamed Colombo in P8. I think that is the only Ferrari that we have in the field, if I'm not mistaken. No, Alexander Raskovic is also in the Ferrari. He finished 12th last time out, so he's not on the board here tonight. Hopefully he can improve a little bit tonight as well. Colombo showing that there is some pace in that car. It's not the most popular car in the game at the moment, given the current BOP. But Alexander Raskovic hopefully able to get some more performance out of that car there. I think he's also the youngest driver in the championship, as we can already see the 109 car there going wide through, that is turn 3 and 4, I think it is. Yes, this is through the big bend towards the hairpin. Let's go under the bridge there. So it's Kevin Kienbaum, the first driver out on track here in the qualifying session for LM GT3. 22 minutes on the board, so plenty of time for these drivers to set their quick lap times. Of course, these cars do not have tire warmers. I always mention it during qualifying sessions because it's very important to realize the lack of tire warmers. Well, it makes that the car is really difficult to drive during those first few corners. We see Corey Jason actually putting on the first lap time on the board. With where the pit lane is located on this track, you pretty much start your lap straight away coming out of the pit lane. It's a very short run. It's not on the start-finish straight as most tracks have it. So you can set quite a few lap times in these cars on this track configuration. I will point that track of the pit lane in way in as we go on board at some point during this race. I will point it out to you back at home so you know where it is if you're not familiar with it already. So Manuel Fuchs currently in P1 with a 206.7. I would expect around a 2:05, 2:04, maybe even faster. As you see, Corey Jason already 3 seconds quicker than this, so scratch that what I said. It might even go to a 2:03, 2:02, at least the low 2 minutes here for the LMGT3 field. Maybe I'm just referring to my own pace on this track, which is nowhere near as competitive as these guys are able to. So coming up on the end of Sector 2 here through, this is turn 10, I think it is. Up towards, no, it is through Bishop. This is, it is up towards turn 15 and 16, and then through Le Mans on the Almond Straight, the back straight here. The pit lane entry is somewhere there on the right. I'll point it out later as we get further into the session. It's a great lap for Corey Jason with the purple Sector 2 here as well, 2.5 tenths down. So great stuff from him. Let's see what he can do over the line, as Bauer is currently fastest with a 2:06.3, followed by Fuchs with a 4/10 gap. Filiberti in the Aston Martin 6.5 tenths down currently in the provisional pole time. What is it going to be for Corey Jason coming through Sunset Bend, putting his second lap time on the board. Very close to the wall there, as close as you can possibly get. Is a 2:0. It's not a. Yeah, I don't think he. I think he might have gotten track limits there for that is turn 15, where you want to get as close to the line as possible, but not too close. As we see the first really competitive lap times on the board with Filiberti now in P1 with a 2:03.1, followed by Alexander Radoskovic, as I mentioned earlier, in the second Ferrari. Great stuff from him as we are making our way through turns 4 and 5, through the big bend underneath the bridge, towards the turn number 7 hairpin. Probably the trickiest acceleration zone on this track. Very easy to lose the rear on the exit here. Braking as late as possible at the 300 meter board. Of course, you can brake very late with these cars with the ABS system in them. Making its way through the gears here. It's almost 4 tenths clear of the current pole position time, which is his own time at 2:03.1. So it's a great lap from him, first sector from him so far. Braking again at the 300 meter board there, through turns 10 and 11 up to Tower, turn 13 that is. That's the turn to the right here in a few moments. And someone else has set an even quicker lap time at 2:02.7. So pole position time is coming down quickly here for the LMGT3 field. It's a rough exit there for him, making his way through Bishop up towards turn 15. You can see the white line here on the ground. That is the pit entry with a sharp turn to the right here. This is the white line. You don't want to cross that with your wheels, otherwise your lap will be invalidated here. We are working with very strict track limits, so once you get one wheel over the line, that is your lap done. But he keeps it nice and tidy here. Wow, it's the BMW in front of him. Brakes all of a sudden. What's that all about? Weird stuff from the BMW. Hopefully Filiberti didn't lose too much time there. It is a good lap so far from him with 2 purple sectors. Can he finish it up with that weird incident there with the BMW right behind? I'm not really sure who that is at the moment. As he doesn't improve, no, that incident has cost him quite a bit. So it is still P2 from him, as Fuchs goes even quicker, it seems, with a 2:02.034. It's a very quick lap time for Manuel Fuchs. Remember, he did take the win 2 weeks ago, so he wants to continue this form at all costs. So it's great stuff from him with a very competitive lap time, over half a second clear of Stein, who is currently in P2. Patrick Stein, who got P4 last time out in Qatar. In the Lexus, currently sitting in P2. Filiberti now down in P3. There we go, in the Lexus car, the number 87 driver. He takes a lot of grass there through turns 4 and 5 towards the big bend. So great stuff from him. Maybe looking for a podium this time out if he could keep it clean throughout the race. Further down we see P4 Bauer, P5 Hucek, P6 Wenger, P7 Radoskovic in the Ferrari, as I mentioned previously, Benoada in P8 in the Aston Martin, Keybaum P9, Loge P10, Bolger P11, Salinas P12, Bessier P13, P14, Roth P15 Jason, and P16 Colombo in the second Ferrari. He was not set a really competitive lap time so far, 10 seconds down on the provisional pole as Patrick Stein slides all around there. It's a very quick sector 1 from him, but he did not have the greatest of exits there through Tower. Coming up, Collier, turn 11. This is Tower, turn 13. So catching a bit of grass there, so not the greatest run from him. There we go, 3 seconds down already. So this is not going to be the professional pole position lap for him, I don't think. But he might be able to improve up towards P3 right now as Roth improves to just under 2 seconds behind Fuchs, who is still in P1 at the moment. Kienbaum now in P3, so Stein is down in P4. On the Almond Straight towards the Sunset Bend. Good corner, you can see the car scraping the floor all over the ground there with the amount of bumps. You can see it bouncing all over the place. So narrowly missing the wall there. Great stuff from Patrick Stein coming up towards the start-finish line. What is it going to be? It is going to be a improvement from him. It is P3 now, 3.5 tenths down on Manuel Fuchs, who's still in P1. Fabian Roth is going quicker. The Corvette driver, currently in P2. But it's a purple sector 1 with 69 thousandths of a second quicker than Fuchs, coming through the hairpin to Fangio up towards turn 9s and 10. Turn 9 not really a corner, but it is on the map, so I'm still going to call it out anyway. There we go, turns 10 and 11. Collier. It's a great lap from him so far. There we go, purple sector 2 as well, so great drive from him. This is turns 15, 16 here. Keep it between the white lines and you might be able to get a pole position here. Fabian Roth through Le Mans on the Almond Straight, narrowly missing the track limits there. Great stuff. Watching him push his Corvette here to the limit. Yeah, the brief yellow flag out there, so someone making a mistake. I think Colombo still not setting a competitive lap time as Fabian Roth pushes his Corvette through Sunset Bend. Great commitment from him. Is there still enough life in the tires left to finish this lap? Let's see what he does. Can he get in the 201s? He does actually. It's a 201.8, so an amazing lap for Fabian Roth, putting his Corvette on provisional pole by 2 tenths in front of Fuchs. So a great lap from him. Fuchs is still in on a lap as well, but it's not a great sector 2 from him, stuck behind the BMW. I think that is Jason. Might be Jason. They're currently down to P14, so Fuchs does not improve there. Might have gotten stuck behind the BMW as he pulls over, so that is his qualifying session done. So I think I'm not really seeing anyone improve at the moment. That it is going to be Manuel Fuchs, Fabian Roth on pole position in the Corvette, the only car so far who has managed to get into the 201.8s, or in the 201s, I should say. I think that's qualifying done. So Fabian Roth taking pole position here for LMGT3. Great drive from him in the Corvette. Manuel Fuchs, the winner from last time out, only managing P2. Bauer in P3 and Kienbaum in P4. Stein in the Lexus P5. So not managing to get his car that far up on the field, but still a great lap from him. Filiberti P6, Hujek P7, Loge P8, Salinas P9, Benoada P10, Raskovic P11 in the first Ferrari, Bolger P12, Wenger P13, Bessier P14, the Jason P15, and Colombo in the second Ferrari, not setting a single lap time, it seems, 10 seconds off the pace in the Ferrari there. So really not happy with the car, so it seems. So that is qualifying done for the LMGT3 field. We're making, we're patiently waiting for the Hypercar field. There we go. That is your Hypercar field in the Bronze Series. We see a two Porsches actually in the form of Paulo Orto and Lucas Cedar. Orto finishing in P11 last time out, so barely missing out on the points. And Cedar, I don't think he competed last week. So no Porsche points last time out. It was, however, a 1-2-3 for Ferrari with Joao Vanto, Gabopor, and Luca Gagliardini making up the podium positions. So Ferrari seemingly very dominant there in Qatar. Quite a different story in the gold split where we saw a Toyota actually taking the win at Qatar. So, maybe we will see something similar here tonight. There we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, even for Ferrari with a Peugeot in P5. And the Esteban and Valkyrie getting into P9 in the form of Jeremy Barrault. So, well, personal favorite, of course, and a fan favorite, I imagine. I doubt we'll see the Valkyrie performing very well here tonight. Of course, the car is quite stiff. I'm not sure if this track suits it the best, but a great start for the championship for Juho Havunto, the current championship leader here at the bronze split, taking maximum points. Ferrari dominated field, as you can see. So maybe one of the other drivers can throw something in the mix here to make it a little bit more spicy. It was always nice to see, of course. So we are getting ready for the qualifying session in just a few moments' time. So we're seeing some, taking a look at the chat, we're seeing some support for Kevin Bauer and some other people commenting on their favorite tracks, for instance. Marin Bessier commenting that Silverstone is the best track. Of course, Silverstone recently got added to Le Mans Ultimate, so maybe in the future we can visit that track as well in the VMS Championship. You never know. 15 seconds to go for the start of the Hypercar qualifying session here. The cars patiently waiting at the exit of the pit lane. As you can see, they're far down in the distance. We're basically looking at the end of the Ulmen Straight, so up towards the Sunset Bend. So it's a, well, you basically start your lap straight away as you come through the corner here. Let's listen in to the cars coming through this turn. See the multiple Ferraris there. And the single Toyota, I think it is, at the back of the field, trying to create a bit of a gap for himself. Even a blue Ferrari, that's, I wouldn't let the Scuderia see that all too much. However, they did run a blue Ferrari in F1 long time ago. I think it is. Of course, they had a special livery last year, I think, somewhere as well, but that wasn't really blue, of course. Anyway, let's get back to the field here. The first laps being set here. Usama Kanani locking up the wheels there a little bit. Still quite cold tires, cold brakes. He does have a purple Sector 1, of course. He is the first to go through, so you would kind of expect that. But it doesn't seem like they are waiting around here, trying to get the optimum lap there as quickly as they can. Of course, it's a bit of a trade-off. The harder you push, the more temperature you can get into the tires. However, it also makes it more easy to make a mistake, lock up those wheels, lock up those brakes, and well, spin, head off into the wall, which of course isn't ideal if you're trying to qualify for a 1-hour race. Coming through turns 16, already finishing up the lap here in a few moments' time. We're expecting a lap time of about 146, 147. Maybe if someone really goes for it at 145, goes a bit wide there over the white lines. I'm not really sure if that's a track limit there or not, but we will find out in just a few moments. Usama Kanani, the first one to set a time on the board. It is a 47.9, so already quite competitive for him. So those tires, cold tires, not really seeming to hurt him all that much. Cedar puts it in P2, Havunto in P3. There's a Peugeot at top, Porsche P2 and a Ferrari P3. You see some drivers taking it a bit more easy. Ortu in the second Porsche, Sterle, Gagliardini and Poor all about 5 seconds off the pace there. So maybe trying to be a bit more kind to the tire, trying to make it last a little bit longer. We are looking at the Peugeot, of the Porsche, I'm saying Peugeot there, of the Porsche of Paulo Orto coming into in P11 last time out. So he is hoping to get one better this time around. Porsche not really the favorite car on this game at the moment. Unfortunately, I have to say, I quite like the car. However, it's just, especially on the brakes, it's not all that great. He does go purple here with 7.5 tenths of a second, so it's a great Sector 1 from him. Maybe there is a bit more pace in the Porsche here tonight than there was 2 weeks ago. his way through Tower up towards Bishop, turn 14. Over the curb, hard on the brakes. It's also the purple sector too, so this is a great lap so far from Paulo Orto. Finishing it up through Le Mans on the Almond Straight towards the final corner of this track. Let's see if we can finish it off in a nice way and potentially set a provisional pole lap time here. Currently a 47, I'm going to say a 46.8, 45.8 set by Nicolas Sieder in the second Porsche. It is still a sector, purple sector 2 for Paulo Orto, who goes second with a 46.1. Great lap time from him as Gabo Poor puts it in between them as well, so he's now in P2 and puts Orto down in P3. So the Porsche does seem to have quite a bit of pace here tonight at Sebring. Maybe being able to handle those bumps just a little bit better. Gabo Poor putting it in P2, which is the same position that he finished last time out in Qatar. So again, he's hoping, just like Fabian Roth, to put it one better tonight here. But a very competitive lap time from Sieder, who puts it in provisional pole so far. Sieder not competing in the last race, if I'm not mistaken. I don't see him on the scoring board, so I don't think he competed. So this is his first race of the championship. So that would be a great way to start it, of course, for him with a pole position. Still 5 minutes to go, so nothing is set in stone yet. We see the Peugeot of Knani now down in P4 with Benefield in P5, Gagliardini P6, Perron P7, Avunto P8. So the championship leader a second down on pole position so far as Gabo Poor goes very quickly through sector 2, almost half a tenth down on the time of Sieder. So this could once again be a provisional pole position here. Finishing up the lap, very easy to make a mistake here down the tricky braking zone of Sunset. Of course, you're basically turning and braking at the same time, which is not usually what you want to do in a race car. Nice and tidy there. And it is an improvement, but it is not provisional pole position, so it is a 46.0. It closes the gap a little bit, but it's not quick enough to go into the 45s. Sieder at the moment is the only one who has managed to do that. Just barely. That was, I think, a thousandth of a second or 2/1000 of a second slower than a 45. So still a really great lap from Gabo Poor there. As Benefield goes provisional pole there with a 45.8. Benefield also not competing last time out. So once again, the two drivers who didn't compete last time out in Qatar are performing really well. Benefield here in the blue Ferrari. Maybe he has found something, a bit of performance there that the other Ferrari drivers haven't found yet. Being a bit more patient on those tires can also be very helpful, of course, in a qualifying session. Very late on the brakes there, coming into the hairpin, turn 7. Easy on the gas, taking a lot of exit curb. You kind of have to do that, otherwise, well, you're more turning than accelerating, which doesn't improve your time at all. It is a purple sector 1 again from him, so he's not slowing down one bit there. There's also a very tricky acceleration zone there. You're turning at a low speed and accelerating at the same time, so easy to lose the rear there. Through Tower, a lot of curb on the exit. Through Bishop here, missing the first apex, hitting the second apex on the brakes at 300 meters. Throwing it in towards turn 15. Getting as close to the white line as you can through Le Mans on the Almond Straight. It is not an improvement for him though in the second sector, so I don't think this will be an improvement for his provisional pole. Through the final corner in the 34 Ferrari. You see a brief yellow flag somewhere out on track. It is not an improvement. It is a 45.8, but it's 7/10 slower than he managed in this previous lap. So still a very competitive lap time from him, but it's not quick enough to go to improve his provisional lap time. Lucas Cedar, however, is trying to improve on his P2 currently. It is slightly down through the first sector, only a little bit though, so this could still be a improvement from him on this lap. Let's see, loses the rear there through, that is turns 10, so I'm not really sure if that's going to be an improvement from him. The rear of the Porsche looking very loose indeed. And he goes wide there as well, so that's not going to be an improvement. Joao Vunto has improved up towards P3 though in the blacked out Ferrari. Championship leader not managing to get pole position here as he pulled over, so I think that's his qualifying done. Of course, he started out great 2 weeks ago, so he might be happy with that P3 at the moment. Nearly 2/10 down on Benefield. Of course, 2 positions better gets you pole position, which is always a nicer place to start. Paulo Orto setting up for one more lap, but it's 4/10 down in the first sector, so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to improve on his position. Currently down in P5, 2/10. It is P5, 4/10 down on Benefield. So he goes very wide there as well. That's going to be track limits, I think, or at least not an improvement for him. Luca Gagliardini down in P6. Osama Knani in P7. We saw him push on quite a bit earlier. Maybe that early pushing kind of overheated his tires at the beginning already. So maybe not the best strategy to go for if you want to be able to set those quick lap times all the way through the session. But I do think that his qualifying pretty much done, as Osama Knani is, I think, one of the last cars to set a lap time here. Is 5/10 down on in the first sector on the provisional pole. He might still be able to improve on his overall position, of course. We're currently down in P7, as I mentioned. A bit rough there through Tower. It is slightly quicker through sector 2, so he might still be able to improve a bit here. Up the inside here, heading over the curb. Nice stuff, nice and tidy. Hitting a bit of grass there on the exit. So we hear the onboard sounds of the Peugeot. Hear the tires screaming for help. They're barely missing the wall. I don't think this is going to be a magnificent improvement for him, but we'll wait and see. It is not an improvement for him. It's a 47.3, so he stays in P7, unfortunately for him. There we go. That is qualifying done then for the 1 hour of Sebring here at the Virtual Motorsport Series. A very nice qualifying session, if I say so myself, with a very competitive Benefield grabbing pole position in Hypercar. It is Fabian Roth in P1 for the GT3, followed by Fuchs and Bauer in P3. Let's take a look at the overall qualifying results in just a few moments' time, as we are patiently waiting for the beginning of this race. There we go. It's Daniel Benefield who takes pole position. Lucas Cedar in the Porsche, a surprising P2. Then we have Joao Vunto, the championship leader, in P3, followed by Gabo Pour in the third Ferrari. Paulo Orto in the second Porsche in P5. Luca Gagliardini in P6. Mattia Bortolin in P7 and Osama Knani in P8 even in the Peugeot we just rode on board with. Alessandro Sterle in P9 and the only Toyota in P10, Nathan Perron, not really able to perform the best in that Toyota. Alex Marucelli in P11, Roberto Puccinella in P12. GT3 pole position, Fabian Roth in the Corvette P13, Manuel Fuchs in the BMW P14. P15 is Kevin Bauer in the Porsche, Kevin Kienbaum in P16 and the first Aston Martin. Patrick Stein in the Lexus P17 as we have Giovanni Filiberti in P18 in the second Aston Martin. Gregor Hujek P19, Jamie Loke in P20 there. Miguel Salinas in P21, Merwan Banada in P22. Alexander Raduskovic in the first Ferrari P23, Jack Boger P24. Fabian Wenger in P25, Nicolas Bessier P26. Corey Jason in P27 and Mohamed Colombo in the second Ferrari, finishing up the grid in P28. But that is qualifying done then for this race, which is getting underway in just under 40 seconds time, 32 seconds to be precise. So if you haven't already, drop whatever you're doing, turn on your TV or your phone or whatever you're watching on, and let's have a great race here tonight at the Sebring International Raceway, one of the most legendary racetracks in the United States, potentially even in the world. Should be the stage of a very entertaining race here tonight. As the formation lap is underway in a few moments' time. I say formation lap, it is 5 corners to be precise, or 2 corners even. It does give the drivers a chance to warm up the tires and brakes just a little bit before the start of this race. You see the field slowly making their way here towards sunset. Maybe something fun to do now, since I'm the only commentator here tonight, is drop your predictions in the chat as well on YouTube. Who do you think is gonna win this race? As I see Ortu still in the pit lane, by the way, in P5, so maybe not able. There we go, his red slot is still empty, so he's not being able to get on track as we're making our way through to the green flag here at Sebring. There we go, 1 hour of racing here in America. Let's see who gets a great start. Is Benefield still leading. Cedar, however, has a great start. Goes around the outside, almost hitting him, grabbing the lead there. So Benefield all the way down to P3 now. Gabor going around the outside as well, making his way past rather quickly there of the blue Ferrari. So a great start from both Cedar and Poor, who both jumped Benefield there into turn 1. We have Fuchs also making up a place in LMGT3, who is now the leader there. Fabian Roth back to P2. Kienbaum also making up a place to Bauer, who is now down in P4. So a great start from those drivers as well. It seems like the outside, or the inside I should say, gives you just a little bit of a better of a run there. As the timing screen is a bit of a mess at the moment, but we'll just have to ignore that for now. It is, there we go, Manuel Fuchs is now in the lead, with the rest of the field following him closely, as we are following Kevin Kienbaum there in P4, followed by Patrick Stein and the Lexus P5, all making it through here in one piece. So the pole position there, Benefield dropping down to P3. Now Cedar, who started in P2, now up into P1, with Gabor starting P3, now in P2. Alvunto starting P3, now down in P4 as well. And Knani up into P5, since Paulo Ortu did not make the start all of the sudden, which is kind of surprising. Maybe we will find out later what happened there for him. There we go, that is your race leader, Lucas Cedar. Just gonna have to do a bit of guesswork here on what the gap is. I would say around half a second there, with about 2/10 between the cars behind him. Gabor now in P2, followed closely by Benefield and Havunto. There we have him, Joao Havunto, the championship leader, down in P4. He wants to get past these guys rather quickly. That's not the way to do it, though, going through the grass and all the way at the exit of turn 1. Knani in the background holding up the cars behind him as well, so the cars behind getting a little bit frustrated that they're now stuck behind a Peugeot who doesn't seem to have the optimal pace at this stage of the race. Only 3 minutes in, of course. There we go, Manuel Fuchs starting P2, now in P1 in the number 10 BMW. Kevin Kienbaum, who started P4, still in P4 in the Aston Martin, the very striking dark blue and white Aston Martin, nice looking car there, trying to close the gap up towards Bauer and Roth, with Patrick Stein in P5. So a bit of a hectic start there, and apologies for the we have a strange time display. We're trying to see if we can fix it later on in the race. Otherwise, we're just going to have to do a little bit of guesswork. So it is what it is at the moment, unfortunately. Keko Hucek then, I think he started in P7 it was, so not a great start from him as well, getting jumped by at least one car now ahead of him. But trying to see if he can get the place back up as he makes his way through Bishop up towards turn 15 at the end of what is lap 2, I believe it is. Lucas Cedar still in the lead, followed closely by Gabelpoor and Benefield. But the field seems to behave themselves rather nicely at the moment. All of them biding their time here to make up some places further down the race. Well, a slight mistake there from Daniel Benefield on the exit of turn 5. Of course, very slow speed there, and with the bumps it makes it very easy to lose the rear on the exit. See a lock up there from Gabelpoor as well, coming into the hairpin, so they're not sitting down here as they're closing the gap to Cedar in front of them in the Porsche. I think it's half a second if I read that timing there correctly. So Cedar trying to stay ahead at all, at any cost here of the three hunting Ferraris. As you can see, Paulo Orto is competing in this race, so I think it's a pit lane start from him, which is very disappointing. I think he started P5, he qualified P5 I should say, so now all the way down to P11, making his way through the LMGT3 traffic, so not really sure what happened there. Maybe we can ask him after the race. So of course finishing P11 last time out as well, so we hope to make up at least one place. Traffic is going to be very complicated here, of course, as well, with the quite narrow track and other bumps, so some crashes working in his favor later on. Meanwhile, Benefield looking down the inside of Gabelpoor here into Sunset, side by side here. Not really the place you want to make an overtake, but I think he makes it work. Nice stuff there from Benefield, making his way up to P2, forcing Gabelpoor a little bit on the outside, who's now being hounded by Havunto, looking to go around the outside of turn 1 as well. Makes it probably trickier and Sunsil to overtake into turn 1, so great defensive driving for Gabelpoor, who remains in P3 at the moment. Juho Havunto trying to look for a way past here rather quickly, I would imagine. And all of this is of course very beneficial for Cedar, who can extend his lead just a little bit over Benefield. I think it's 1.3 seconds at the moment, so all of this working very much in his favor at the moment. Meanwhile, Fuchs, I think, is creating a gap of about 2 seconds to Roth, so let's say a nice start from him to this race as well. 7 minutes in, so a long way to go, of course. There we have Fabian Roth in P2 in the Corvette, followed closely by the Porsche of Bauer. The only LMGT3 Porsche, as I mentioned earlier. He switched actually from last race to this Porsche S. He goes side by side there and he goes past his teammate. Nice move from him. Bauer up to P2 in the Porsche. Simon Karp as well, by the way. So Roth struggling a little bit here at the early phases of this race in the Corvette. Maybe hoping to unlock some pace later on in this race here at Sebring. All of this, just like we saw the Hypercar field, very beneficial for Fuchs, who is able to extend his lead just a little bit further as the guys behind them are battling on. Meanwhile, Gabelpoor is being hounded by Havunto right behind them. 3-4 tenths behind them, maybe. Again, we have to do a little bit of guesswork sometimes, but it's all fine. It's part of the fun. Makes it a bit more old school, like we're watching a race from the 60s, so to speak. So we're going to rely on the good old eyes that we have, or at least I have. So, you know, always would be a bit tricky to do this job as a commentator. So you can see the tire information on your left. So all of the drivers choosing to go for a full set of mediums. In Qatar we saw a little bit of a strategy going on there. with some guys opting for a hard on the left front. Of course, it's a very intensive track for the left front tire. So all of these for now on the medium tire. So you can see Puccinella down in P12. I think he started around P10, if I'm not mistaken. Looking back at my, trying to recount my memory. So Otto getting past him. There he is, making his way past the GT3 traffic. That is Bauer, I think it is, in the Porsche. So the LMGT3 field already being lapped by the Hypercar field. Just shows the insane pace difference between these two classes. It's about 15 to 20 seconds a lap, I would say. Of course, we saw that the qualifying for GT3 was about a 2:04, I think. So it is 20 seconds a lap pace difference. So traffic is going to play a huge part in this race, as you can imagine. As earlier, it's quite a narrow, bumpy track, so maybe that will bring some spice towards us as well. 10 minutes in this race, Lucas Cedar is still leading from Benefield, who is clawed his way back up to P2 in front of Gabor and Avunto. You saw a brief yellow flag there, someone making a bit of a mistake. Nani in P5 are starting in P8, so it's a great start from him in the Peugeot. Gagliardini P6, Peron in the Toyota P7, Maruccelli, Bortolin, Sterle P8, 9 and 10, Ortu in the second Porsche in P11, and Puccinella in P12. You see Alex Maruccelli in the number 50 Ferrari. There are a couple of those out there with the of course there are 3 standard Ferrari liveries you can choose from. So there we go, Avunto in the black Ferrari behind Gabopur in the other number 50 Ferrari in P3. Avunto probably being a bit frustrated here. He wants to make up those places and get as far to the front as possible, being the leader in this championship. He wants to get every point he can to remain in that lead. Gabopur here is his closest rival actually in P2, 7 points behind him, of course, with 18 that he received, finishing P2 last time out. So this is a I'm not going to say crucial battle yet, because it's very early stages, of course, in this championship, but it's every point can count towards the end. Of course, Cedar and Benefield not competing last time out in Qatar. Well, makes them a bit of a weird position here, because they are well, fighting for the win here already, because there is still a long time to go. But are not really in the championship, so it's quite of a weird position here for these two cars out in front. Makes it a lot more interesting, of course, as well, because it's well, can throw a bit into the mix in this race. We'll just have to kind of wait to see how this all plays out. That GT3 Porsche sounds great. It's such a fun car to drive as well. It's really fun to see there. So Kevin Kienbaum still in P4 after a great start. Giovanni Filiberti now in P5, so that it would mean that Patrick Stein has fallen back there. We see him in the background in P6, so Filiberti making up some ground here in this race. Starting on P8, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. So great stuff from him already into P5, getting some good points here from him. Let's see where he finished last time out. I don't think he competed as well. So trying to get some points on the board. P5, of course, gets you 10 points. So that's a nice haul for your first race. Patrick Stein finishing in P4 last time out. So he is still a competitive player in this midfield battle here. So he wants to get past at some point, I would imagine. I don't think he wants to look back as much as he wants to look forward in the great-looking 87 Lexus there. Always fun to see that car competing in the field. It is the oldest LMGT3 car out there. I think it's already been competing for, I'm going to say 10 years. It might be a bit shorter than that, but it's a long-standing LMGT3 car, but still very competitive, so that's always very fun, of course. Gregor Hujek down in P9, as we see the leaders of Hypercar coming through as well. It's just not been great for Cedar, who's lost some ground here to Benefield. trying to put the traffic to his own use. Closing the gap to only a few tenths, I think. This is within a second, so this has not worked out great for Cedar here. Who has lost some ground making its way through the second round of traffic. So 15 minutes in and already 2 rounds of traffic here at Sebring. Coming past the Lexus as we are on board with the blue Ferrari of Daniel Benefield. Up towards turn 10, well, as he gets stuck here behind the Aston Martin. This is very much in the favor of Cedar right in front of him. You can really see how the traffic ebbs and flows, basically. 1 second it works in favor. Ooh, we're very close there to the Aston Martin. Losing quite a lot of time there to Havunto, who's behind them. But really working as an accordion, basically. Sometimes it works in your favor, and the other time it really doesn't. So it's great to see that they're still keeping it clean at the moment. We are on board with the championship leader. Patiently waiting for his moment to strike. Oh, this is also not great, having traffic here through Sunset. It is the number 3, Fabian Roth. Meanwhile, Cedar in P4 is saying, I think he has had an accident that I missed. That makes it Benefield is back at the P2. Oh, he loses it through Sunset. So a big mistake from him there. Now down in P4, very unfortunate for him. I'm not really sure if there was any traffic involved. But the number 99 Porsche, the leader, Lucas Cedar, now down into P4 after a costly mistake there through Sunset. So that means that Benefield is back up into P1. Havunto is now P2 and Poor in P3, which means that Havunto has also made his way past Gabel Poor there. So a great switch there for the overall championship and the lead of this race. Now back in the hands of Daniel Benefield. Once again, he is the debutant here as well, after not competing last time out. So Cedar there making a very costly mistake that might end up costing him the win or maybe even a podium. So see a yellow flag out once again. Let's see if whoa, very close stuff there. This is the leader of LMGT3, Manuel Fuchs, being overtaken by the backhand of the Hypercar traffic. There we see the overall standings of LMGT3, already 2 DNFs in the form of Colombo and Bessiere. So once again, not a great start race for Colombo, who managed to, or didn't manage to score any points last time. I'm mistaken, he scored 4 points. So a bit of a nightmare from him in the second Ferrari, not getting a great qualifying in at all, and now DNFing in P15. Meanwhile, battle for P4, Giovanni Filiberti making his way past the other Aston Martin, Kienbaum that is, on the inside of Sunset, getting the move done nice and easy on the 109 blue and white Aston Martin. Great move from him. That is the way you want to do it, down into Sunset. If you're going to make a move, then this is the way to do it. However, it does make you vulnerable to the slipstream down into turn 1. Kienbaum trying to get back at him for P4 it is. But he does not manage to make a move around the outside. So currently still down in P5. So it seems that this battle is far from over, as Kienbaum is desperate to make the move back past there. Trying to get a good run here through Big Bend up towards the hairpin. Kienbaum, of course, starting in P4, so he wants to get the players back. The last time out finishing in P5, just behind Patrick Stein, so 10 points for him on the board. So it is, whoa, it's very close there on the braking, with Patrick Stein right behind them as well, the Lexus I previously mentioned. So there's a great battle here for P4 between these 3 cars here. 2 different makes of cars as well. So nice stuff as Patrick Stein tries to take a bit of a look there. Maybe trying to force Kienbaum into a bit of a mistake. But he doesn't fall for it that easy, so it seems. And Kienbaum having to look behind a bit more than he actually wants to. course, you always want to look forward, unless you're the race leader, but you want to make up as much positions as you can to go on board with the Lexus of Patrick Stein. Nice telemetry there as well, a bit wide there from Kienbaum, trying to hang on to P4 right in front of him. Patrick Stein getting a great run here, but so does Kienbaum, so no opportunity for him here on the Almond Straight up towards the Sunset Corner. Once again trying to force Kienbaum into a bit of a mistake here, just taking a slight look there. Tuck it in nice and easy there, as close to the yellow line and the wall as you can, and the same counts for the exit here. So great driving from these cars here. But this battle is far from over. So it seems there's something brewing here. This could last pretty much the whole race. So you can already see the first first car in the pit lane, actually. Jack Bolger in the 31 BMW from P12 already making his pit stop. So, of course, the cars have to make a very short pit stop at some point during this race. And with 20 minutes in, you can make that pit stop already to just get it out of the way and try to make a huge undercut on the whole field. Downside of that is that your car remains a lot heavier than the other cars around you. So potentially that makes you lack a little bit of pace there. So we'll just have to wait and see if that eventually ends up working in his favor. I think Patrick Stein made a bit of a mistake at some point. He's now down in P7 with Wenger in P6 behind Kienbaum. So that battle, there we go. Stein now further down compared to the battle for P4 that we were watching just moments ago. We have a bit of a replay here. This is, let's see where this is. This is, right. So no replay of that, unfortunately. Anyway, P7 for him now. So this is not great for him in his battle for his shoot. He does have damage, as I hear in the back channel, so on the right side of the car. So I think he has hit either a hypercar or potentially a barrier at some point. So that's not great from him. Might cost him some lap time as well, of course. So the race not really going in his favor so far, with now Fabian Wenger right in front of him in the white BMW. As I take a little bit of a sip of my drink. Oh, and he spins even. So going from bad to worse for Patrick Stein there in the Lexus, losing more positions still. Now down in P9, P10 even. So a horrible lap for Patrick Stein, who was competing very nicely towards the front of this midfield. And now down just in front of Corey Jason. It's not what he would have wanted after finishing quite competitively last time out. So this is a bit of a lap to forget for him, unfortunately. Meanwhile, we have Miguel Salinas in the hunt of Wenger right in front of him for P6. We're going to have to kind of take a close look at that at some point as well during this race. Giovanni Filiberti sitting comfortably in P4 right now. Kienbaum, I think it seems, has dropped it back just a little bit. So a great drive from all those guys there. Back in Hypercar, you can see the overall standings on your left as we are nearing the halfway point of this race. Bendefield still leading there, as we can see some telemetry on the bottom, which is unfortunately still not really working. So just going to remain guessing a little bit here and there. Bendefield still in the lead in front of Havunto, who has made his way past Gabopor, as I previously mentioned, which is very important for him in the championship, as he was the winner 2 weeks ago and Gabopor coming home in P2. So this is very important for him. There we have him making their way past Cedar now, very close to Gabopor after spinning out from the lead even. He was leading quite comfortably and then had a spin through Sunset. So he's trying to make up those places once again, trying to get back onto the podium. Gabopor's pace seems to struggle a little bit here, as he managed to keep Havunto behind for quite some time, but now he has to worry more about his own P3 than he is able to look ahead of him. City here getting a great run after a poor exit from Gabelpoor through Tower. This is not really the place when to go for a move, but he's forcing Gabelpoor wide, and a mistake there. Can he go around the outside? Let's see if he can. Oh, on the grass there's contact and almost spinning each other out. Very close stuff from these two. Bit of a rough battle going on here up towards Sunset. Is he gonna force it down the inside? He is. And Gabelpoor goes way too deep into the corner, making a mistake on the brakes there. So he has to slot in right behind him. He goes wide. Oh, no, saying that, he remains there, managing to get a lot more speed there on the outside. So he remains in front of Cedar for the moment. Probably did get some track limits from that move, but it is a great defensive move from Gabelpoor, who remains in P3 now, defending with tooth and nail from Lucas Cedar in the 99 Porsche right behind him. This is great stuff from the two. So we are on board with the Porsche through turns 5 and 6. You can hear the great sounding V6 engine of the Porsche towards the turn 7 hairpin. The Porsche seems to have a great straight line speed on the brakes as late as possible around the outside. That's not usually a move you see, but he makes it work somehow. Still side by side through Fangio up towards turn 10. Still side by side there on the braking zone. Can he get past finally through turns 10 and 11? It seems he can. Yes, turn 11 becoming the inside for him and working very nicely in his favor. So an amazing move there from Lucas Cedar, who makes it work somehow around the outside of the hairpin. And then remaining side by side with Gabelpoor in the Ferrari. And somehow managing to stay, to keep his car ahead. So it's an amazing overtake there from Lucas Cedar in the Porsche, who seems to have a lot of pace in the German manufactured car here at Sebring. So different it was in Qatar 2 weeks ago, where the Porsche barely scored any points. I say barely, they didn't score any points with Ortu finishing at P11, but Cedar on his debut in the Bronze Championship tonight, really putting on a show and showing that there is some amazing pace in that Porsche. Meanwhile, I'm getting some confirmation in the chat. I'm getting, well, how do you say that? Correcting me that the Porsche does indeed have a V8, so that is my mistake. It still is a great sounding car. That doesn't make any, that doesn't change at all, but it is a V8 in that Porsche. And Lucas Cedar really showing that it has some great pace here tonight. The other Porsche as well in the LMGT3 field, the 992, driven by Kevin Bauer, who once again, remember, he switched to this car for this race, so losing his championship points, but clearly it's working for him. Now in P2, hunting down Fuchs, who is still in P1, but these two cars really close here at the end of coming through Sector 3, and Bauer clearly showing that he has some pace here in that Porsche, trying to find a way past him up towards the Sunset corner. I think he's a little far back here to go for a move. Yeah, this is a bit too far back, but it's really closing that gap here, with Roth not far behind as well. All of these guys are part of the Fischer Racing team, it seems. So this is a their team boss will be sitting there, well, with sweaty hands. Hopefully their drivers not taking each other out during this race, but for now they're keeping it nice and clean. We see the Porsche riding the curb and some grass on the exit there through turn 1. We're getting really close there on the braking zone. Porsche seems to have a lot more overspeed here on the BMW in front of him. And I think, indeed, as the back channel points out, the car ahead of him seems to be fuel saving a little bit. So there could be some strategy at play here. Oh, and he goes a bit wide there as well, almost hitting him on the back. So potentially some fuel saving going on here for the car in front of him. Not really sure if we can getting correct. Again, the Porsche is fuel saving, as you can see there. So even with the fuel saving going on, BMW seems to be a lot slower than the Porsche. There's some interesting strategy going on here. Maybe the Porsche, oh, as he gets overtaken by the Hypercar there, all over the grass even. So while they're fighting here, the Hypercar leaders coming through here with Havuto, that is, in the blacked out Ferrari. It is still Benefield in the lead, followed by Havuto and Cedar, now up into P3 again after his incredible overtake on Gabelpoor. Gagliardini now in P5. But his medals far from, oh, that's a left Ferrari there as well. There's Paulo Ortu. I was kind of confused seeing a Porsche there, but it is Paulo Ortu getting lapped there from by Benefield. Maybe he's made a pit stop already. I'm not really sure, to be honest. Maybe we can see if that graphic works in a few moments. But it's there we go. So we can see the pit info of the field. So Artu did make his pit stop already, as Bartolin is also making his pit stop. So even though he is getting lapped right now, he might be able to get back up just a little bit. Mattia Bartolin, as I mentioned, also in the pit lane in his 51 Ferrari. So some early strategy at play here as we are nearing the halfway point of this race, 30 minutes in. And it's an interesting race, to say the least. There's some strategy at play here, but also some great driving, some great overtaking action, especially in the Hypercar field. Very close stuff in the LMGT3 field, where we used to see some the leader taking quite a bit of a lead in other racing series here at VMS. This time around, it remains very close with the top three in about a second or two, I would say. Fortunately, the timing not really working in our favor, but there we go. Fuchs, Bauer and Roth, the three Fischer teammates, Fischer Racing teammates. There we go, the three purple cars. Well, within a second, I would say, of one another. This is going to be very interesting to follow over the next half an hour, where these three guys end up. As we see the Peugeot Hypercar of Knani, there it is. Oh, going very wide there indeed. So missing his braking points, trying to overtake these cars, and now all over the grass there. There's really any room to go for in the first place, I don't think, for him. So Knani not having the best of races so far. Now in P6, being hunted by the Toyota there. Oh, he makes contact there with the number 10 of Fuchs, that is, in the BMW. So Knani really not happy with how his race is going after starting in P8 and now P6. So in terms of places, it's going great for him, but he's being very aggressive with the traffic there, getting past Fuchs, trying to hang on that sixth place ahead of the Toyota. Yeah, so what is interesting here is that Bauer does seem to have the overspeed, but as the my broadcaster so kindly pointed out, he does seem to be fuel saving. So that is going to be interesting to see if this is all just part of the game, part of the strategy of these three teammates to remain in position for now and try to extend the lead that they have on the rest of the field. We did see some GT3 drivers in Fuji in, I think it was the silver race some weeks ago. No, Hypercar drivers they were, going all the way to the end of the race without making a fuel stop, but being able to stretch that fuel tank all the way to the end. So maybe we're gonna see something similar with these guys, or at least they're trying to stretch as far as they can, trying to make their fuel stop as short as possible at the end of this race. That is, of course, the big bonus that you have when you're driving with teammates, that you can discuss these types of things, you can plan these things out, you can do those type of things. And we see Lucas Cedar in the pit lane, the Porsche driver who was at some point leading this race, but then spun out and made his way back up to P3, is in the pit lane right now. Osama Knani overtaken by the Toyota. He is in P6, of course, with the pit lane, with Cedar in the pit lane at the moment, but he has gotten passed by Perron in the currently 5th placed Toyota, but he is going for a move here, potentially down the inside of turn 1. Can he force it in. He can in the 93 to Peugeot. Can he make it stick? It's still side by side there. But it is Perron still ahead. But there we go. Knani down the inside once again through turns 2, 3 and 4. Forcing his way past, and I think he makes it work just about. Coming through turns 5 and 6 through the big bend up towards the hairpin. Great move from Oussama Knani, making his way past the Toyota once again after losing that place earlier. Really defending these places with tooth and nail. Finishing in P5 it was 2 weeks ago, so 10 points on the board for him. We have Lucas Cedar out of the pit lane, down in P7 at the moment, so he's still ahead of the Ferraris of Marucelli, Puccinella and Bortolin. And now it's up to him to go as quick as possible and close the gap on the guys ahead of him. He wasn't too far behind, I don't think, of Benefield and Ovunto, so maybe if he's able to get enough clean air and enough good laps in, he might be able to close the gap just a little bit. There we go, Daniel Benefield in the very striking blue Ferrari, and Joao Avunto, our championship leader, in the blacked out Ferrari. Two very different cars, as you can see in the 717 here. I think about a second and a half between the two. So this battle is far from over between these two guys. Benefield, as I mentioned before, has not taken part in the championship before, so he has no points on the board in the Bronze Series. So this would be a very good way for him to introduce himself to this series. However, it is still 25 minutes to go in this race. We are over halfway through. We are following Nathan Perron, still hunting down Knani, now in P5. Gagliardini in P4, who has also had quite a quiet but a good race. He does have some damage up the front, so maybe some contact with an LMGT3 somewhere during this race. It's a bit of a quiet race for him in the white, black and red Ferrari. But it is a steady race from him, starting behind Knani and Perron, I think. I'd be mistaken there, so please someone correct me in the chat if I am. But currently sitting in P4 after the pit stop of Cedar. So nice stuff from him. These three still following each other closely, but it does seem like they are pretty much holding their position at this point. So some teamwork going on here between these guys. That is Cedar, I think, making his way past, going a bit wide there. Getting past the leaders of LMGT3. And this is in P4, Filiberti. Quite a while behind, I think, a couple of seconds behind the Fischer Racing Team 1, 2, 3 at the moment. So not being able to really attack them at the moment, but still a very nice P4 for him. We have Kienbaum and Wenger in P5 and P6. At some point we saw Stein fighting there as well for P4, 5, but then he had a spin going into sunset, so he's currently P14. Oh, there's contact between Merwan Banwara and Salinas in P7, the two Astons, after they're getting overtaken by a Ferrari, that is. So a bit of contact there on the nose from Merwan Banwara. Hopefully not getting too much damage there. But Stein currently down in P14, so I think he's made a pit stop already, trying to make up some time again to those cars that were ahead of him. As we see another Ferrari, I think, that is making their way past these two cars, hitting some pylons there as well. Now there we go. Baduara has a great run there, as there's a Ferrari. The second Ferrari behind them as well. Great run here down the inside towards sunset. Can he make it stick on Salinas in the very striking pink Aston? This should pretty much be move done. A bit of side-by-side contact there, going quite wide there through the corner. But I think that's job done by Merwan. Yes, that should settle it for him. So nicely done by him, up into P7. As we have 22 minutes to go in tonight's race. So once again, if you have just joined us, it's just me for tonight. My co-host Daniel, unfortunately having some technical issues, so you're gonna have to do it with my lovely Dutch voice here. So hopefully I can entertain you quite a bit during this race. If you have any comments you want to make or any things that... as we see a massive crash there for Corey Jason, losing his right rear tire here. His contact with Avunto, it might have been... Or is it just him on the exit? Wow! On the exit over the grass, and a massive hit from him. And it is a DNF if we look at the standings. So very unfortunate for him there. Making a mistake on the gravel of turn 1 after getting passed by Avunto. And it is his race done, unfortunately. Corey Jason finishing in P10 last time out, getting 1 single point on the board. So this is not the way he would have wanted this race to go for him. Luckily for him, he didn't hit any other cars in that crash. But a disappointing end for him tonight. But as I mentioned, if you have any comments you want to make, please do so in the YouTube chat. I am always happy to read them or listen to them. I have only 2 eyes, so any tips are always welcome here during this race. As we are looking at the lead battle. I'm saying battle, but it seems they're holding position quite steadily, these 3 drivers in LMGT3. Getting some flashbacks to Le Mans 66 with the Ford team rounding up a very competitive, I think 1, 2, 3, 4 it was back then, with the Ford. I'm going to say GT3, but that's not. But it's what the Ford at Le Mans back then. Daniel Benefield, meanwhile, having made his pit stop from the lead, now down in P6. He was ahead of Avunto, who is now in the lead, of course. There we go. He did get out ahead of Cedar, who is now right behind him, some while back, it seems. So Cedar's strategy has not gone according to plan, I don't think. Now there he is. He's quite a long while back on the leader. I think pretty much the whole half a sector, I think it is. So that's not really how Lucas Cedar would have wanted his race to go after leading it for quite a while at the early stages of this race. So Avunto and Poor still having to make their pit stops as well. They were not too far behind Benefield at some point, so it's going to be interesting to see where those two end up after their respective pit stops. It was the Ford GT40, of course, that took the win at Le Mans 1966 and 67, I think it was at least. So just me rambling about some cool cars here during this stream, because there's nobody who can stop me. Anyway, Joao Avunto now in the lead in the blacked out Ferrari, trying to close the gap and on Benefield that he had in front of him. But it's going to be interesting to see how those two end up, as we see almost contact there between Luca Gagliardini and the 9th placed BMW, the 38 there. The closing speed between these two classes is sometimes insane to see. There's quite, as mentioned before, there's quite a big pace difference going on here of about 20 seconds a lap. So the closing speed can be very intense between these two classes. So McNani now in P4 after Benefield has made his pit stop, still being followed closely by Nathan Perrin. Had a great battle some time ago between the Toyota and the Peugeot, with McNani forcing his way past through the infield of turns 2, 3, 4 and 5. But Nathan Perrin apparently not able to close that gap down further on Kanani, so having to settle for P5 at the moment. It will be P7, I think, after the pit stops. Oh, big lock up there from the Toyota driver, trying to send it down the inside of the BMW, so he's still going for it as hard as he can. Gagliardini there in the 119 Ferrari. You can really see the bumps there on the entry of the hairpin on the braking zone. Of course, this track is, well, very famous for being insanely bumpy. The track surface is part asphalt, so it is a part like a regular racetrack. However, some parts of it are just straight up concrete that was laid down there back in World War II when this place was an airfield. So it hasn't been resurfaced for, well, pretty much 80 years, which doesn't really make for a smooth surface, I don't think. So the bumps, well, really noticeable here, really famous for the bumps as well. It makes it, gives it a lot of character. It makes it one of the best racing tracks, if I personally say so, that we have. Unfortunately, the WEC not racing here anymore. We had of course, the 1,000 miles of Sebring here a couple of years, which was last hosted back in 2023. Fortunately, it is still in the game, so we can still drive around this fantastic racing circuit. See Gabor, I think, dropped that back quite a bit from Havunto, who is well, now taking a commanding lead, of course, but he still has to make his pit stop during this race. Kevin Bauer still in P2 for the Fischer Racing team. It's been quite a quiet race after a while for these three drivers, after just settling in, finding their rhythm as teammates, letting each other live. Might be a bit disappointing for Fabian Roth, who is now in P3, of course, in the Corvette, but he started on pole position at a difficult race for him. He's now down in P3 behind his two teammates, so maybe some late changes there potentially. He might request from like, guys, you know, we're teammates. I got pole position fair and square by a couple of tenths. Maybe it's only fair to get me passed by again. We'll just have to wait and see how that plays out in the end. Filiberti still in P4, Wenger still in P5. Nice and steady race for these guys. Not really putting a foot wrong all race and putting themselves up in quite a nice position. Kevin Kienbaum still in P6 with Benoit in P7. These two had a decent battle. Oh, Benoit goes deep there, too late on the brakes, missing his braking point and losing some more time behind Kienbaum. Those two had quite a decent fight some earlier in this race. If you see the first of the three Fischer cars, Fuchs now in the pit lane, and Filiberti as well in the pit lane. So the first of the Fischer cars, there we go, is in the pit lane as we speak. He was the leading LMGT3 car. So Bauer in the Porsche and Roth in the Corvette going longer at the moment. There we go, there we have Kevin Bauer, who is now behind Roth once again. So there's some switching done there. Yes, Fabian Roth, who is in the Corvette, he did get pole position. He is now ahead of Bauer in the Porsche. So they are switching around here just a little bit. Interesting to see if there was either a deliberate pass or like team orders or something similar like that. I guess we'll maybe you can ask them after the race if they're interested in speaking to me. But it's interesting to see how this will play out. Roth there going wide, so this does give Bauer an opportunity to maybe get past him. He does take a look here on the outside. Roth going defensive. So these two teammates are going at it right now, battling for the lead at the moment. This will put them back in P2, P3 after their pit stop, but this is for the lead right now with 13 minutes to go between Fabian Roth and Bauer. Of course, being teammates, you don't want to hit each other or hinder each other all that much, but maybe Fabian Roth going a bit off script, so to speak here, getting past Bauer and not really wanting to give that lead back to Bauer. We make their way through Bishop up towards turn 15 and 16. I would expect these two guys to make their pit stop at some point as well. We had some issues early on with the telemetry, but maybe we can see if we can see the virtual energy at some point as well. It's going to be interesting to see which of these guys has to pit the earliest. And there we go, right on cue, we do have the virtual energy. This is for the Hypercar field with Benefield. I think by far the most virtual energy. We got Gabor in the pit lane. However, better for P1, Bauer here on the inside with Roth having a terrible exit through the first turn. So side by side now, coming up towards the first turn of this racetrack. Fabian Roth trying to hang on the P1, but Bauer goes around the outside in the Porsche. It's a nice move from him and he makes it stick. a great move from Bauer, climbing back up into the lead ahead of Fabian Roth, who is now once again back into a virtual P3, which is going to be quite disappointing for him. As we saw just moments ago, Gabelpoor is in the pit lane for his pit stop, so the Hypercar is now making the stop as well. So it's going to be interesting to see where Benefield ends up after all of those. We see Loke and Salinas in the LMGT3 also making their pit stops. Of course, Patrick Steiner here making a quite early stop, as you can see with a 1 behind his name. Making an early stop from, I think, P8, P9 it was, so maybe, hopefully for him he can make up some positions once again. There we have Havunto now in P2. With, it is a lapped Hypercar behind them. So Bauer and Roth are still continuing with Wenger and Kienbaum as well. There you have him. Yeah, so let's see, they're coming up onto the pit lane entry. Let's see if any of them... yes, there we go. So Fabian Bauer is coming into the pit lane. Both of them are coming into the pit lane. So Fabian Roth, if he wants to get past Bauer, he has to do it on tracks, it seems. So he's going to be quite frustrated with that, I would imagine, being in front of the Porsche, but getting overtaken around the outside of turn 1. That's never nice to have. Fabian Wenger also coming to the pits, and I would expect Kienbaum to get into the pits as well. And that makes the final 2 LMGT3 drivers to come in. Veroskovic also has to make a pit stop, but he is down in P13. Manuel Fuchs here, he was in the virtual lead, but now the question is, does he come out in the lead as well? His car, of course, being heavier, having made an earlier pit stop, coming through the pit lane. And I think Bauer and Roth have come out ahead of Manuel Fuchs. There they are. So he's back into P2, but he's behind Bauer, who has taken the overall lead here. So some internal fighting going on between the Fischer teammates. Manuel Fuchs did have the lead before the pit stop phase, but now he is behind the Porsche of Bauer. This is going to be spicy. Are they going to leave it like this, or is there going to be some inter-teammate fighting going on in the final 9.5 minutes of this race? This is going to be interesting to see. We see another Ferrari making its way past these LMGT3 traffic as well. So good stuff from these three. It's going to be trying to do some calculations in my head as well, but I think this is going to be spicy. They might have to do some team orders. I'm really not really sure if they do that at Fischer Racing. But otherwise, this is going to be some spicy racing coming up for the next 9 minutes, because of course all these 3 drivers still have a chance of winning this race. And Fabio Roth being quite frustrated, having a quite difficult race starting from pole position. He wants to get past Bauer here, who is this is Fabio Roth in front of him, Fuchs in front of him. Apologies, who seems to be a little bit slower through Tower and Collier as well. So potentially Fabian Roth trying to get back into P2 at least. Potentially fighting with the Porsche of Bauer ahead of him. There, Roth Fuchs once again going a bit wide there through 15, so not having the best of time here. To go off board, there we go. It's a great run for Fabian Roth in the Corvette. Potentially going for a move here down the inside of Sunset. Fuchs goes defensive in the BMW. Can Roth go around the outside? He goes kind of for it, but he decides to back out after all. Not trying to risk the move here just yet. Of course, it's a difficult choice to make. Do you go for the move and potentially get a P2, but have the risk of not scoring any points at all, or to settle down for P3? The other Fischer Racing driver, Alexander Radoskovic, down in P13 in the very roughed up Ferrari there with a lot of damage on the front, so not the ideal race for him at this point. Ferrari seems to struggle quite a bit around this track, unfortunately, but Radoskovic down in the final position of LMGT3. In Hypercar, Benefield did manage to get out ahead of Gabor, who is now in P2. Crucially though, Cedar is back up into P3 and Havunto is in P5. So not a great time for Havunto, who has lost some crucial places there to Gabor and Gagliardini as well, who is still in P4 here. So Havunto, our championship leader, not having the best of time here. To see there Luca Gagliardini in the striking white Ferrari. Not really sure if he's made his pit stop already, but Havunto losing, I think it is 3 places. There we go, yeah, he did lose 3 places here. He was ahead of Gabor at some point. So this is disappointing for him, and this might even mean that Gabor gets the lead of the championship. I'm saying that with a question mark, because I'm not great at calculating and talking at the same time. But it's going to be very tight. Of course, Gabor getting P2 2 weeks ago in Qatar. Only 7 points behind. So that would mean with a P5, yes, that Gabor would get into the lead of the championship at 1 single point. So Havunto having to get back past Gagliardini if he wants to retain that championship lead. Meanwhile, on board with Lucas Cedar and the Porsche, a great debut from him, I have to say. His first race in the Bronze Series this season. Currently in P3, hunting down Gabor, who has shown some, well, he was quick at the beginning of the race, but after that he didn't have the quickest car out there, with Lucas Cedar getting past him before in a great way. So Cedar potentially eyeing up a P2 here in this race, just behind Benefield. Which would mean that Benefield, who of course got pole position as well about an hour ago, it is already, with 5 minutes to go. Time flies when you're having fun. Benefield getting pole position, retaining the lead now. Lucas Cedar starting P2. Well, of course, he wants to get the P2 once again, making their way past the GT3 traffic. The clock does tick down further and further though, so if he wants to go for a move, has to do it rather quickly, diving down the inside of the BMW there. A bit of a slide there from Poor, so Cedar has a better run through turns 1, 2 and 3. Through the infield here. Very tricky to stuff here, very easy to lose the rear there. Oh, a bit of a slide from both of them. Through Big Bend, underneath the bridge, on towards the hairpin. Bit of a lifting coast going on there, so not going for a move just now. Gabor does go defensive though. Bit of a missed run here from Gabor up towards turn A through Fangio. Once again going defensive. Cedar trying to take a look around the outside. There's a bit of wheel banging going on there. So Gabor getting forced to go defensive there. It's maybe not the, of course, not the ideal line that you want to take. Maybe a bit too early from him as well. Cedar doesn't seem to go for a move just yet. However, in the battle for P4, Luca Gagliardini, followed closely by Havunto, this could be very crucial for the current lead in the championship. It is the championship. With Gabor potentially being overtaken by Cedar. There we go once again. And Havunto making up a place to Gagliardini. This could swing in the favor all the way back to Havunto. Oh, tricky traffic going on there. Oh, Cedar all over the back of him. And he goes down the inside into Sunset. Oh, and they make contact with the wall there as well. Almost spinning out. Insanely close driving on these two. Making contact there on the inside of the wall through Sunset. Not even, oh, and it goes down inside once again through turn 1. Forcing Gabor to go a bit wide there. But he remains on track. So very tough driving going on here between the two. Hitting each other left, right and center and almost crashing each other out as well. So Cedar really going for the move here. He really wants to make up that place and get up into P2 here tonight. So we go on board once again with the Porsche. A bit of a lock up there as well, so not the best braking zone, but he does go better than Poor, who has an even more terrible braking zone, going wide there through the hairpin, side by side once again through Fangio. Up towards turn 10. This of course becomes the inside. There's Radoskovic as well. Oh, very close stuff between the two. And Cedar it seems, does manage to get past. Bit of a rough exit for him. Port taking a look around the outside once again with the Aston Martin GT3 right in front of him, but Cedar just throws it down the inside. Great move there on the Aston Martin, and Cedar makes the move stick, going past Gabelpoor, who's down in P3. Great news for Havunto, who's still in P5, but Cedar, what a move once again on Gabelpoor there through the infield around turns 11 and 12 on this magnificent racing track. Great stuff from these two, and this is not over at all with 1.5 minutes to go. So this is, I think, going to be the final lap of the race in just a few moments, depending on where Benefield is. It feels like these guys are only getting started here tonight, but it is the final lap, I think it is. We'll find out in just a few moments. But a great move from Cedar up into P2. Meanwhile, Fabian Roth is up into P2, so that means that Manuel Fuchs is now down in P3. I think he got overtaken by Roth, who is, of course, our pole position for today. And then we have Cedar going past again, so this is not great stuff from Cedar. Close stuff from Gabelpoor as well, with Fuchs almost making contact between the GT3 and the Ferrari there. So not really in the favor of Cedar this, with the GT3 traffic holding him up just a little bit there. And not able to create a bit of a gap there compared to Gabelpoor. But right now he seems to be able to keep it under control for now. I can see some people cheering on Cedar in the chat, with some great defensive and aggressive driving from all of these guys. Joe Havunto also trying to go for a move here as well on Gagliardini, who's still in P4, hanging on for dear life. But the timer is almost down to 0. Let's take a look at Benefield as well. Where is he on track? Is there going to be another lap, or is this... There we go, he is. This is the end of the race. Daniel Benefield on his debut in the Bronze Series. I think this will be the checkered flag. It might be one more lap. Yes, it is one more lap. If I'm not, yes, so one more lap. It is not done for him yet. It is. I'm confused. Yes, it is. So I think that's. I think that is the race done for Benefield, who gets the win here. Meanwhile, Cedar is there we go, coming home in P2 and Poor down in P3. Havunto does not manage to get past Gagliardini in the end, so he has to settle for P5. And a great drive from Gagliardini, who makes his way all the way up to P4. So great stuff from him. Nathan Perron coming home in P6, just behind. There we go, the Fischer Racing team getting a 1, 2, 3 there with Bauer, Roth and Fuchs in the end. So I think that's a plan very well done by those guys as well. So in the end, it's Benefield who wins the race here in Sebring. Apologies for the bit of a mess up on my part. I didn't see a checkered flag out, so I got a bit confused. But it is Benefield who wins on his debut here in the Bronze Series. Cedar, also on his debut, gets P2 in the Porsche. Gabelpoor gets P3, followed by Gagliardini and Havunto P4 and P5 respectively, which sees Havunto still in the lead of this championship. In LMGT3, it is a 1, 2, 3 for Fischer Racing Team. A dominant performance there, with Fuchs eventually getting the win over Roth and Bauer. There we go, that is your final standings of this race. So Perron in P6 behind Havunto. This is the LMGT3 field, so it's... There we go. Perron P6, Bortolin P7, Marucelli P8, Ortu P9, so points for him. Puccinella in P10, Kanani DNFing eventually in the Peugeot P11, so not a race how he would have wanted it. And Sterle with an early DNF as well in P12. So great stuff from Benefield and Cedar there, especially LMGT3 is Bauer, Roth, Fuchs, 1, 2, 3 for Fischer Racing Team. Amazing performance by those guys. Filiberti and Wenger P4 and P5. Kienbaum P6, Hujek P7 in the BMW, Benoada P8, Loger P9 and Salinas P10, rounding up the points paying position. Bolger P11, Stein P12 eventually after a disappointing race from Hein, and Radoskovic rounding it up in P13 with Jason Colombo and Bessier, the DNFs of tonight. So there you have it. That was the 1 hour of Sebring, the second round of the VMS Bronze Series here. Once again, for any drivers listening in, if you want to have a quick word with me, then by all means, feel free to hop in and have a quick chat about how your race went tonight. And I'll just sit here and wait patiently to see who wants to hop in. For you in the chat as well, if you have any drivers you want me to interview, by all means, call them out in the chat, and maybe they will join us in a quick while. As I can see Lucas Cedar already in the waiting room, so I'm gonna drop him right in. So we have Lucas Cedar, the P2 for tonight on his debut in the Bronze Series in the Porsche 963. Good evening, Lucas. It was a great race from you, very entertaining on my part. So how was that for you?
Well, I surprisingly qualified pretty well. I didn't expect that, to be honest. Yeah, then I had an amazing start. Led until I had a spin. I don't know if you saw that.
We did, yes.
Yeah, it's quite embarrassing, really. Just
yeah. What happened there? Was it with traffic, or was it just a mistake?
Both. I misjudged the traffic, and then I had a different line into the last corner that I never had before, basically, and that unsettled the car and made me spin and destroy my tires.
But did you get any further damage from that as well, or did you manage to keep it out of the wall?
Luckily, no. I've spun often enough, so now at least I have some practice in keeping spins out of the wall.
Good stuff. So, of course, you didn't race at Bahrain. I've said Qatar all race, but it was Bahrain 2 weeks ago in this championship. However, you get P2 tonight, so it's a good start. Maybe eyeing up the championship still after tonight, getting some good results in.
I mean, as far as I know, there's one drop round, so I definitely hope to do all of the other races. So, if it's possible, I would love to. But from what I've seen today, the winner, Daniel, he's just insanely quick. I raced in the first race in the silver split, actually, as a reserve, and he raced there as well, and he beat me there as well. So I think he's gonna have the edge eventually. But I hope I can at least try to put up a fight.
Well, it's a good start to say the least. So congratulations from me on your P2 tonight, and I always enjoy seeing a Porsche performing well in here. So good luck for the rest of the season.
Well, thank you.
All right, have a good evening.
Good evening.
All right, so meanwhile in the waiting room we have Jamie Loke, who eventually finished in P9 of the LMGT3 field. I'm gonna drag him right in. Good evening, Jamie. How are you tonight?
How's it going? Not too bad. Yourself?
I am doing very well after an exciting race, for my part at least. It seemed a bit of a difficult one for you. How did it go for you?
I was a bit gutted. Yeah, I was probably my best qualifier I've ever done at a Sebring race. And I'm normally in tier 1, and on the start in the bronze, everybody was much more aggressive. Like I left some gaps and people just took them, so I fell back a bit. And then I was kind of like in my own race then, a bit quicker than behind, not quick enough to go forward. So it was a couple of bits later on the race. Someone in the Aston Martin went off fighting with the BMW. I think the BMW pitted early, took fresh tyres, and then later on in the race, they were pretty quick, jumped me in the pit. Thought I was going to get some positions there, but it was just too quick. So I had fun doing it, filling in as a reserve. Fun.
Well, eventually you finished P9, I think it was. And let me just check real quick. So it is still 2 point. It is P9, so it is still 2 points on the board for a championship. Even though if you're driving as a reserve, it's still 2 points on the board. So potentially some more results to come if you're driving as a reserve for other races as well.
Yeah, like not the most exciting race for me, but I just thought I'd come in and say hello.
Well, you're always welcome to. Well, so my brother is actually driving in Tier 1 as well. So if you ever see him out on track, you can just give him a little nudge, and then he'll know it comes from me.
Ah, I'll remember that. I might do that for you. Thanks,
Well,
all.
thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you around, hopefully for some other races as well.
Yep, definitely.
All right,
Have a good
nice
evening. Bye-bye.
And our next guest is the winner of the Hypercar race tonight. We have Daniel Benefield. Good evening, Daniel. That was a very exciting race from my part. How was that for you?
Yeah, it's very tight at the front. With the top 4 of us in that early stint, and then I guess mistakes and traffic management kind of decided it. To be honest.
Well, were you surprised by yourself how good it went, especially in the qualifying first and then in the race as well?
Yeah, since 1.1, I think it's no secret that the Ferrari got hit pretty hard in the bot. So I had another league race back home on Thursday night, so I didn't have the most practice either. And I think it's the first time I've actually driven the Ferrari around here. I think every other time I've driven the Toyota, so not exactly the most ideal preparation. But we made it work in the end.
Oh, great stuff. So was it a specific choice for you to go with the Ferrari in the end? Was it just you thought it was the quicker car, or why did you choose that in the end?
I think it's just better over a season. Well, pre 1.1, it was the best car over a season. And naturally, everyone's cars were locked in pre 1.1. So based on the buff we had at the time, it was definitely the best car to go for, in my opinion. Now, though, I think the Toyota and the Porsche are definitely more viable over a season versus the Ferrari. So it'll be interesting to see, especially with Lucas and the Porsche, how that develops over the next 4 races.
Yeah, you two were really eye-catching throughout the race. It was great to watch. I spoke to Lucas earlier, and he mentioned that both of you were reserve drivers for the silver race earlier. So neither of you have competed in the championship, in the bronze championship at this point, but you still managed to get away with a win. What does that say about your own title chances, maybe in the bronze championship at the end of the season?
To be honest, this season more for me is just seeing how the body goes, getting up at 3, 4 a.m. in the morning to do these races, and then we'll see where we'll see where we end up. I'm still going to push for as many race wins as I can, but we'll see
Just
where we
taking
end
it
up.
race by race.
This is definitely a test, kind of a testing season, and not in terms of the sim or the series. It's a testing series in terms of my body and whether I can sustain this or not.
Oh, fair enough. Because I think you're from Australia, New Zealand. Where are you from?
Yes, Australia.
All right. Yeah, that's a bit of a different time zone, to say the least, indeed. So, well, great stuff nonetheless. It was very exciting to watch you out on track. And I can't wait to see more from you during the rest of the season.
Yeah, I think we've got Algarve next, which is another
Yes, we do.
a kind of a niche track in a way, because we haven't seen it in the last 2 years, and whenever dailies go there, it seems to be kind of dead, unfortunately. So it'll be interesting to see how everyone turns up for that race.
Yeah. Well, best of luck for the rest of the season, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you guys, and thank you to this guys at VMS for putting on so many series now. I think we've got 6 series across 3 nights now.
Yes.
So yeah, thanks to Virtual Motorsport Series for putting the series on.
Well, thank you very much. I'll pass it on to the organizers. So Once again, thank you for coming to talk to us, and have a great evening.
Thank you.
All right. And our next guest is Merwan Benoadou, who finished in P8 of the Adam GT3. Let's see if I can pop him in real quick. There we go. Good evening, Merwan. How are you feeling tonight?
Wow, bad race, a really bad race from my side. I thought that with the P3 on the last race I could keep the pace for the podium, but absolutely not. I couldn't a setup for this race, so I was with the basic car, and I feel it a lot.
I can imagine. Yeah. I think it, like you said, was a bit disappointing, perhaps for you, because you finished P3 last time out. So, was it a surprise for you that you didn't have the pace this time out, or were you kind of expecting it given the setup?
I was expecting it a lot because of the setup, firstly, and also with the new BOP, we can see that the Porsche is really fast when we see it before the update, and a lot of little things. But my driving were ruined there tonight, and we can see it with a lot of bad defense that I did, and many mistake where I goes to the gravel, but yeah, bad race for me.
Well, in 2 weeks' time, the 10th of October, we're going to Portugal, to Portimao. Is that a track you think would suit you a bit better compared to Sebring?
It will be my first time on the track, so absolutely not. But yes, I'm hoping for a better finish than this one, but still not hoping for a lot of things from Portimao. Yeah, no.
Well, fingers crossed that it will go better for you, because of course you did manage to get a very good result last time out. So hopefully some more points coming your way then to improve your chances in this championship. Are you still looking forward compared to the competition? Do you still think you can compete a bit more for podiums this season?
Even if I was last, I would say yes, because I'm not here to be the last. I'm here to get the pace for the first one, and probably get the silver split next season. But yeah, it was a bad race. I have to forget it, learn from it, and evolve with it.
Well, that's a good motivation to have. So good luck for the next race in Portimao in 2 weeks. Thank you for joining me tonight, and have a nice evening.
You too. Thanks for the cast.
All right. And with that, I think we're going to round it up over here on my side as well. To you at home, thank you very much for watching. I hope my commentating was pleasurable to watch, even with my Dutch accent coming through sometimes. Thank you very much for joining us tonight here on the bronze race of the VMS Motorsports Series. In 2 weeks' time, the 10th of October, we are visiting Portimao in Portugal. Very tricky track, a lot of elevation, so that should be very challenging indeed. Thank you, Omet, for hosting the stream tonight, producing the stream. Was always very nice to have you here. If you haven't already, please drop a like on the live stream. Subscribe to the VMS on YouTube as well. Always helps us out to help this channel and the competition grow as well. My name is Sverre Komman. Thank you very much for joining, and we will see you next time.